Hello and welcome to our COMP3851B final project presentation. This presentation will be given by Fadzayi Manyeyna, Griffin Humphries and Brenton James. And we'll just go over a brief overview of the topics that we'll be discussing throughout this presentation, such as the project aims, which acts as an introduction and outlines the aims by which we used to develop our site, the project methods, which was how we decided to make the website itself and the tools that we used. Also the project management software, which was used in order to work together on the project collaboratively and document our progress. And also the website pages, such as the library page, the first year checklist, finding classes, student testimonials, MyUON, and Blackboard, followed by a demonstration of the site itself. Project aims. Number 1. The primary aim of this project was to design and develop an orientation website for students finding themselves overwhelmed during their first year of enrollment, or considering enrollment. The website will include 6 pages regarding the following topics: testimonials from students, finding classes within the campus, accessing library facilities, a checklist of activities for first year students, using the Blackboard site, and using the MyUON site. Number 2. Each page requires text descriptions of their respective topics and images to support these text descriptions. Team members are also encouraged to design their sites to be distinct and memorable through interactive elements such as embedded videos. Number 3. Each page needs to follow the same template and reference the same CSS file. Additions can be made to these files by any user. Each page must also be navigable and allow users to visit any page on the site at any time. And lastly, number 4. Being that each page must be easy to read and understand. The primary goal of this site is to create an approachable website that will ease the stress of students. The perspective of a first-year student must be considered when developing the pages for this site. These 4 aims acted as the guidelines that we would use throughout the development of our site.
For the COMP3851B part of this project, Team 6 decided to use Dreamweaver as the software to create our orientation site. We chose Adobe Dreamweaver for the way it changes the traditional web development process into one that follows a more natural progression of the design development, transferring into the creation of the site, rather than strictly focusing on the coding aspects of web development. This was going to be particularly helpful as members of our team have studied in majors focusing on disciplines that don't heavily rely on the use of HTML and CSS coding. So the assisting tools implemented into Dreamweaver would help in fast-forwarding the learning process, allowing members to focus on developing their allocated pages over worrying about their technical knowledge and abilities. One such tool that greatly illustrates this is Dreamweaver's different views, which are the following. The code view that shows the HTML and styling codes of the selected work file, the design view that displays the work file as if it were open but allows active drag and drop editing, and finally the split view, which is a combination of both, where any changes made to either view shows its related effect in the other. Each view presents the work page files differently, catering to individual work style preferences, but allows other team members to access the website zip folder and those files be presented in a manner comfortable to them. After deciding the software we were using for creating the site, Brenton and Griffin first created a functional frame of the site, structuring every page we had planned on implementing and adding functional elements to improve the usability of the site. After this, we then began delegating individual web pages to team members. These team members would then be responsible for the content provided on their allocated pages. However, would then have that content proof checked by other members to make sure it met the requirements guideline we had set over the whole year leading up to this implementation stage of the project from the planning and development stages. In the end, Griffin was allocated the student testimonials and finding classes pages. Brenton was allocated the home, my UON, and Blackboard pages, leaving Fadzayi to her first year checklist and using the library pages, covering every single page that we'd planned on implementing.
Hey guys, my name is Fadzayi. I'm going to present to you about the project management softwares we used during our project. We had two main softwares. We used Slack and Trello. We used Slack for sharing files and communicating between each other, and Trello was used to assign tasks, organize group meetings, and outline some rules. For Trello, it was easy to understand and easy to use because it was color coordinated. So whatever tasks we were supposed to be tackling for that week, we would always go back to Trello and see how much progress each of us would have made, and if we needed assistance, or if it was now overdue, or if it was in progress. So depending on what color you put on the task you are given, people would be able to see how much progress you would have done, and if you need assistance, someone would always help you, as we were good as a team. As for Slack, we used it for sharing files and communicating on a day-to-day basis. So we created a different channel from the chat or the communication one. So we had a files channel where we just shared files between each other. And as soon as someone would have uploaded something, they'll send a message into the chat to say they've uploaded the file, or they would check to Trello to see if that specific task had been completed. And then usually if it's completed, there would always be a new file that has been shared in the Slack channel. Thank you. Hello, my name is Fadzayi. I'm just going to present again on using the library and the first year checklist. Under the library page, we managed to create a drop-down menu. Since there was a lot of information that wanted to cover about the library, the information that we included there was based on some of the experiences I had, or we all had at uni when the uni started during our first year. Some of the things we wish we knew when we started that we knew later in the semester. So we have things like library orientation, library pin, finding and borrowing books, using computers and printing, booking a study space, and getting help generally either at the library or around the unit, depending on what kind of help you're looking for. So when you go on the library navigation menu, there will be a drop-down list that will drop down from there, and then you get to choose which page you want to look at first, and you go from there. We try to include some videos throughout those library menus, and one of the videos include finding and borrowing books or changing your pen. Some of the videos were on the uni website, so we just copy pasted those videos, but we did manage to create our own videos that weren't included on the uni website, because there was like a step-to-step method of how to borrow a book, but I find it better learning if I can see a video of how someone can do it than actually just following text on what to do. So we did try to mix a bit of text showing you how to do certain things and a video showing you exactly how to actually do those steps. For the first year checklist, I tried to make sure that some of the things that are included on the list, you can find more information about it on our orientation site. So things like my UON or using the library or how to find classes is already on our site. So half of the things on the checklist, you can do them
all using our site. And then some of the things you also need to actually go to the official uni website, of which we did provide links to go on those specific list items that are on the list that you can find on the uni website. So on the library and the checklist, you can find a few links that will link you directly to the actual page on the uni website, depending on what you're looking for, or for more information that isn't found on our site. But most of the things are on our site. So there won't really be any need for you to go to the uni website unless if you just want more information about it or you want to read more about it. But the overall idea of that specific item on the list will be on our site.
The purpose of the Finding Classes page is to explain the use of the Maze Map application for finding locations and directions around campus, using the Callaghan campus as the working example, as it is the largest campus with the biggest population compared to other UON campuses. However, it is explained other campuses are available through the app. Due to the inherently visual nature of the subject, it was agreed that a video would be best in conveying this information in a manner that would reflect the real-world application of MazeMap. The video was shot showing the desktop version of MazeMap to help with visual clarity of the video, as the mobile version tends to look a little cluttered. The video started showing users how to firstly navigate the app to select their desired campus. Once the correct campus was selected, users were shown how to use category searches to look for specific location types, such as shuttle bus stop locations. Before going into detail about the directions function of MazeMap, I first thought it important to explain the way that UON sets identification codes for rooms, and how users can deduct location information from the abbreviations within these room codes. After explaining the code structure, a demonstration of MazeMap's directions function was given using two different scenarios. The first scenario shows the use of the application to travel to a designated room from a location outside of the campus blocks, specifically going from Car Park 4 to ES203. During this scenario, the optional travel methods feature was shown. The second scenario explored travelling from one room to another, specifically between ES203 and E8101. It was during this directions demonstration that I explained MazeMap's level feature, which is particularly useful due to Callaghan's dynamic terrain placing blocks levels at different tiered altitudes, and how that corresponds to the user interface of MazeMap. The student testimonials page is focused on sharing knowledge gained by third-year university students, transformed into advice statements targeted towards first-year students coming into university. Alyssa, Jonathan, Cody, Josephine, and Why are fake names. However, each testimonial is a reworked statement from real, current UON students with their real names and degrees changed for privacy reasons, an issue referenced in the ethics section of our team's report. Each testimonial is supposed to be a short story focused on encapsulating each student's life in an attempt to establish a connection with the reader or our team's target demographic of first-year university students. The testimonials cover a range of resources available on and off campus, from personal services such as counselling, and Accessibility, a resource aimed at students living with a disability. Indigenous and international students have their related resources linked under certain testimonials as well. Not all the testimonials are so heavy though, with additional focus on recreational activities such as sporting facilities and social clubs on campus.
And that brings us to the MyUON page. The MyUON page is designed to provide a brief outline of the resources available to students on this site, and also how to access them. It does this through brief explanations of important functions of this site, supported by illustrations and short hints located at the bottom of the page. The resources explained on this site are how to navigate the MyUON site, UON Line or Blackboard Online, MyHub, which provides course enrollment information, NewMail, which is the student email, and Timetable and My Details, which are the student timetable and enrollment information respectively. This page also provides a video walkthrough for using the MyUON site, provided by the University of Newcastle. So here's a brief preview of the MyUON site. As you can see on the left is where I've given the text descriptions, where you can find information about, on this screenshot, familiarizing yourself with the tiles, which is a very important part of MyUON, as you navigate the site using these tiles. Examples of these tiles are given on the right, and they're labeled for convenience so that you can tell which one is which, and it also gives a brief description of these tiles. And in the center of this screenshot you can also see the embedded video, which is just from YouTube, and it acts as a video guide for how to use the MyUON site. And we also have the Blackboard site. The Blackboard page aims to provide students with the knowledge necessary to use the external Blackboard site and access its features. This is conveyed through text descriptions of each feature, supported by embedded images. Similarly to the MyUON page, this site also provides short hints and specific advice located at the bottom of the page. The features discussed are as followed: an introduction to Blackboard, using the welcome page, using the Blackboard page and My Course sites, and using UON capture for lecture recordings. Both the Blackboard site and the MyUON site have been written using colloquial terms and encourage students to learn how to use these sites at their own pace. And here you can see a screenshot of the Blackboard page. Here you can see all of the text descriptions, outlining a brief introduction to Blackboard. You've got one outlining the welcome page, one for the Blackboard page and the My Course site, and one for UON capture. And you also have this image of the My Course sites tab over on the right. And this is important because often students will ignore some parts of this tab, despite the fact that most of these headings are extremely important. This is because they allow students to access important functions of Blackboard, such as the email system, or viewing assessment information, or even viewing lecture material as well. And lastly, here we have an example of the hints that I'd provided at the bottom of the page. I decided to make these very short and easy to digest for students because they outline a lot of the topics discussed in the website above, but they do so in a way that isn't as intrusive, and you can sort of pick and choose which parts of the hints interest you. Like, for example, staying up to date using UO Online and reading that specific hint and learning, oh, okay, it's a very good idea to stay up to date and check UO Online every single day. This is just another means of communicating information to students in a way that isn't just text descriptions, and contributes an extra layer of accessibility to the site overall. We also have site navigation. Each page can be accessed through the navigation bar located at the top of each page. They can also be cycled through using the forward and back buttons located at the bottom of each page. Okay, and we'll finish this presentation with a walkthrough video of our site that we've developed together. And as you can see, we are currently on the home page, and we can navigate to other sections of the site using the navigation bar located at the top of the screen. So we'll do that, and we'll visit the library page. And here you can find information on how to use the library. And there was a lot of information for using the library, so we've decided to compile all of it in a handy drop-down box here, so you can find the library pin, finding and borrowing books, and so on. So we'll go to finding and borrowing books just so we can show an example of an embedded video that we've included on our website, and you can watch this video and it essentially shows how to borrow a book and the processes involved with doing so. And we'll also go to the Finding Classes page. This just shows how to find your classroom, gives an example of how to use Maze Map for navigating to different classrooms. And then we'll go to the first year checklist, where here you've got a handy little checklist of things for new students to be aware of before coming to the University of Newcastle. along with these little hints down the bottom. And we'll go to student testimonials as well. And here is the student testimonials site. This gives advice from third-year students as displayed through these portraits and little text boxes here. They all come from different disciplines of computer science, sports science, and they outline their experiences with the University of Newcastle. Now keep in mind that these are all entirely fabricated. We'll go to the MyUON website, where here you can find information on the MyUON website displayed here on the left, and you can find the tiles used on the MyUON site right here. They're clearly labeled, outlined, and in the middle you can find this embedded video on how to use MyUON. So if you click on that, it goes to this video hosted by the University of Newcastle, and we won't watch all of that right now. We'll go to the Blackboard site, and here you can find information on how to use Blackboard, as well as a guide on how to use the Course Sites tab included. And you'll also find these helpful hints down at the bottom of the page here, such as, checking Blackboard daily, essentially little tidbits to help students develop good habits as they enroll in the University of Newcastle. You can also navigate this site by using the back and forward buttons located at the bottom of the page. So we'll do that. We'll go back, and here we are at the MyUON site. We'll scroll to the bottom and go forward again, and we're back on the Blackboard site. So this has been an example of the site that we've been developing, and if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Thank you very much.